Good morning, Rabbi Sai. I think people think I'm in Austria. Look, I've never sseen the room like this. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? From? Whose volume is on?
It's volume 2.
Shalom Aleichem. Is that those are your suitcases outside? Your cousin. He's leaving or coming? No, who came with the suitcases? I want to say Shalom Aleichem to the guest. Oh, Shalom Aleichem. Where are you guys coming from?
Detroit.
You just came now? You're in yeshiva? So you came with the... You plan on sleeping here or stay? Ah! Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Eli Stefansky.
Shalom Aleichem. And you also from Detroit?
No, from Lakewood.
Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Daniel Shkovitz.
Shalom Aleichem. Daniel. Shalom Aleichem.
Last second decided to come here.
Ah!
They didn't make the last bus to Jerusalem.
No. Yeshiva Bachram getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6:30. Come on. Kol kavod to you guys. Listen, without you guys, it would be like literally 20 people in the room. Shkoyach. To remind the Olam, because Reb Nachman Seltzer didn't see this, we have Shabbos is Achdus. We took the entire hotel, the Royal Hotel on Yam HaMelech, Be'ezer Hashem. It's going to be a beautiful MDY Shabbos, save the date. There's a Shechita. What?
When you get back from Austria?
No, this is the covered Rosh Hashanah. This is right there. Oh no, after Austria there's another trip. Don't worry about it. Shechita by Reb Avram Weisfish in Manchester. Their rebellion on Wednesday this week. I fell in my bathroom, hit my head. It was gushing blood. I was headed to Shari Tzedek Hospital. Being a good Talmud, I asked the Haredi medics in the back with me if they did Daf Yomi. They didn't. I mentioned your name and how wonderful it was. Let me just show you the picture of him. Here he is, sitting there in the hospital, Shari Tzedek. Still blood. Wow! I could actually see the blood that came out of his head. I didn't even notice that. That's a lot of blood. Wow! But here he is doing the daf. Wow! That's dedication.
I mentioned your name.
One of them said as follows: "The shoichet recognized. I was conscious at the time, so while waiting till 10, I started watching the shir at 7:10. I got interrupted after 40 minutes. But this is how you have changed my life. Every day." It's routine. I come home from Chullin straight to the daf. The afternoon I was catching up on the daf, and the doctors came, put 5 staples in my head. I told them I had a few minutes to go to shir, and they said continue. We can put in the staples while you learn. Mash like the Chavetz Chaim. Who was it that surgery? Somebody, the stapler. That's terrible. Stapler. While there, no, surgery. How am I going to do it? No, it was Rav Shach. It was Rav Shach.
You offer something good. You want to what? MDY is like that? Like that? All right.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Give him a. I told him I had a few minutes to go. You can put in the staples. Okay. Anyways, in the minyan there was a chassid who also, for some reason, I asked him Daf Yomi, Eli Stefansky. Yes, he knew of you. My wife complained. My wife complained that I become fixated by the daf and everything revolves around it. Welcome to the club. Baruch Hashem, a few weeks ago, my friend's wife complained to me that ever since I introduced him to shiurim, it has taken over his life. How is your wife? Over here, there's too much going on in this right over here because it's disturbing. How does your wife handle this? Finally, I've used the word, no, this is not true. Kol Tuv, biggest shekoyach on all of your team's effort to bring Torah to the masses. Menachem Broner, Sanhedrin, Daf, Beis, Yishakoyach. Here he is, Refuah Shlema. Thank you. Wow. Yitzi Langer. The secret behind, look, there's a lot of people do Pnimius HaTorah. Unfortunately, Noam's not here, he's not feeling well. Is he better? I don't know if he's going to make it on the trip or not. The secret behind Good Morning Rabbi Isaiah. The is actually what brings in the recognition that we are never finished. Before the comes, it is just Good Morning Rabbi Isaiah, GMR, which is Gemar, done. The then wakes us up and brings us from Gemar to Gemara. This is why we begin. This is Rabbi Isaiah. It's happening now, and there's like pneumius even from now, like things that just now. Daf Beis, this is why we started Daf Beis, because the Aleph is itself, a Yid wakes up and says, I'm not done. A Yid is never done. Returning to the Gemara is an inherent step to getting to Daf Beis. The which is an Aleph with a Patach on it, is the Nekuda associated with Chachma. When we call it we're drawing down the flow of wisdom from Hashem to open our mind with the pesach of wisdom that comes from the What better kli to reveal soif, ain't soif, than Aleph Samach, Eli Stefansky. Gemara boys say, much love, Yitzi Langer. Those of us who are into Pnimis HaTorah really appreciated this. Those of us not a little less. Official edition MDY Shas, Mesechta, Zevin Yal Shulaf, Perek, Ilan, Emery, Davidovici, Yishaya, Ben Aaron, and Yochevet Chava, Itel Bas Avraham. Daf Nun Beis, Dov, Eisenberger, Talmud Chassid. Now I chap. Dov Eisenberger, your Talmud Chassid, because the other one, I think in the Gemara it says, with gratitude to my father, Gershon Eisenberger, Tzaddik and Nonov, and my role model, your Talmud Chassid. You could darshan it both ways. Your Talmud Chassid is father, which makes sense, but over here, Dov Eisenberger, your Talmud Chassid. I think he's talking to what? Yeah, you know? With gratitude to my father, Gershon Eisenberg, a tzaddik, an honor, and my role model. Maybe he's probably a Talmud Chassid of his fathers. Okay, I'm still confused. David Salman, dedicated in the Masechta, dedicated in memory of Avi Meir, Shmuel, Baruch, Meir, Chaim, Tzvi, Dov, Zechon, and Vracha. The Policy Family Foundation, gratitude to the consortium and the alliance and all they do to support MDY. Anonymous Hatzlacha Baruchnis Uwe Gashmis, and thank you to Chief Benny Shmuel and Ahuva Schuster for the continuous Hatzlacha Nachas from all our children. Anonymous for complete refuah Shleim and Arikas Yom Talei Bas Esther. B'Yomin Daniel Rosenfeld Brias V'Simcha. Anonymous Lilin Nishmas Yonatan Eitam Ben Mordechai Zev HaKoyin Zechron Levracha. The Tzvi's Lilin Nishmas Yonatan Eitam Ben Mordechai Zev HaKoyin Zechron Levracha. Still in the Shiva. Monthly sponsors: Ari Yisrael for Shlema of Imori Baruch Ben Miriam, Anonymous for Shlema for Rabbi Rucham Ben Yehudis and Avram Yishaya Ben Slava Devara. Amen. Weekly sponsors: the Spanish year sponsors in honor of the Spanish year sponsors in honor of the first three Bochum in the Mexican satellite location: Shmuel Yuda Abramchik, Moshe Yado, Inon Greenberg, and by Yaakov Weinstock. Mazel Tov on the marriage of Brianna to Uri Ostrin. May they build a Beit Ne'eman B'Yisrael. Anonymous in honor of Reuven Eliyahu ben Dvoira for Refuah Shlema Bekorev Amen. Yomen Hekmati, first year set of our mother Rivka Bat Yehuda, dedicated her life completely to her family. And the way art Refuah Shlema Mordechai ben Esther. Refuah Ayelad Daniel Zev ben Ayelad Esther. Rabbi Yisai, here we go. We're Daf Nun Aleph. 50 Daf into Chullin. We're holding like 14 lines from the bottom. Omar Meimar. 13 lines from the bottom. Omar Meimar Mishmei de Rav Dimi Ben Ardo. Nefula Shamru. When an animal falls, Tzricha B'dika Keneged B'nei Ma'ayim. You have to check the entire. But what does it? What do the intestines do? They makel food. The whole digestive system. Thank you. In Hebrew, I can't remember the words in Hebrew. I have to say it in English. In English, in Hebrew, it's moirdik. That all I need to do now is start a shir in Yiddish. That will be like a Check the entire digestive system, the whole intestines. Start from the entire length of the spine and all the ribs. You got to check to make sure there's no internal damage. If the animal falls 10 tfachim, we have to be concerned that there's damage. What about the trachea and the esophagus? The kana and the veshet, the animal fell. Do we have to be concerned that maybe it popped out of place? You don't have to worry about it. They are in good shape. They're very strong. They withstand a fall. That's not the issue. I guess you can see also, like in a human beings that fall, what breaks? Their hip, their ribs. You never really hear that the guy's esophagus popped out of place. You know what I'm saying? So the esophagus is pretty good. For me, this is one of the most interesting Gemaras I've seen in a long time. Because now we're going to discuss when a bird falls on a certain material. Now, the idea is, and the Gemara says all the way at the end, that there's two types of fall. All of you, especially the guys over 70, know what parkour is and how to jump off of roofs and in parks and jump over fences. And there's ways to jump off a 2-story building. You know, you jump and you like, what's the word I'm looking for? You.
Rabbi Yisrael, you want to show us how to do it?
Rabbi Yisrael, get up for a second. Show us. You're in shape. Get over here. It's not you're probably better than a lot of us.
Those are his grandchildren.
The impact, you absorb. That's the word I was looking for. Is that the word you were looking for? No. You try to absorb the fall. Now, if you could absorb the fall in a better way, like let's say parachuters, not the guys that do it for fun, but the guys in the army, they don't give them something that you just fall out of the plane, right? You fall fast. But when you land, you don't want to land on your 2 feet because you break your legs. They tell you like roll, I don't know what, different things. If you were to jump off a 2-story building, but on an angle, it'll be a lot better. Let's say you hit a wall that has an angle to it. It'll be a lot better. It'll absorb the fall a lot more than if you fall straight on a piece of concrete. That's the whole sugi here. That's the end of the day. Anything that is slippery and that it's not going to give a jolt like that. In yeshiva, a guy thought he could jump. He thought he could jump out of a 2-story building. He jumped and he broke both of his legs. I said the story. I said, "Yeah, I have a friend. Everybody had a friend that tried it and wasn't very successful." Before parkour became a thing, the guys tried it like straight from. Why try 1 floor? Let me try 2 floors. 1 floor is garnished. Fine. But what's the pella? Why do I say it's one of the most interesting sugyas? The Gemara gives 27 examples of different things that a bird could fall on. And to me, I was surprised that one of them is not berekes. Like once you're going through sand and cotton and 27, like why do I need so many? I don't understand. I don't get it. But that's our sugya. So it's easy. It flies. You just have to understand what these things are. I don't know all these 27. You'll help me out a little bit. And we're going to go weiter. Omar, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shmuel, Oiv shenechbad al pnei hamayim. Most of us, some of us are scared of water. Most of us try to dive into the water once in a while, and you do a little bit of a belly flop. Ooh, wow, does it hurt? So what if a bird with its wings tied fell onto the water? I guess these are all things that happen. These are common materials that birds fall on. Interesting. So, as long as I could swim 1 bird's length, so he showed that he's not a nefula, he's not a risuk, he doesn't have crushed organs. He's able to move. We're going to see later on if an animal stands up, if an animal walks, these are all signs that he's okay. He doesn't have any internal damage. And this is only a bird who was able to swim from downstream upstream, against the flow of the water, upwards. But if he swam from up down, that's nothing. That's not a raya. He was floating and he happened to make his way downstream. Big deal. And if the water is stagnant, it's just staying, it's not going anywhere. Less lamba. But what's interesting is that Rashi says in this case that even if you went upstream, even if you went down, but I thought it's kaimi. It's so the Beis Yosef talks about it. He says the water is moving slightly, and he doesn't have to prove himself that he went upstream because it's barely moving. So for a bird, it's nothing. Let's say you have a leaf, you have a piece of floating wood on the water. So now you know the speed of the water, but he's vikadme. He swam quicker than the wood, so he's going downstream. We said he has to swim upstream, but look at the detail, the amount of detail. It's crazy. So he really has to prove himself by swimming upstream, but he could also prove himself swimming downstream if he's quicker than the floating things on the water. Floating things are going 5 miles an hour. He's going 10 miles an hour. So obviously you see that he's capable. Okay. Glima Matiach Chashinon. Here's a Glima Matiach. This is a real story. This is not made up. This is not AI. I guess in Colorado, wherever it is, if a bear comes into your front yard, you have an issue. So they shoot him with a dart or something, I'm assuming, and then they try to catch him. So that's a glima matiach. Is this matiach? If it's taut and the bird fell into it, broken. I love the end, because this happens every day. Look at the truck. Danger, live bear. They have this ready. This is the Ma'aseh Shem Chol Yom. Okay. A nice little circle. I don't know why it's like a tube. Could have been like a no, it has to be. It's comfortable for him. Okay. Geschmack. So if it's taught, like these guys, you saw they're professionals. There was a little bit of a stomach in that blanket. It gave it a little bit of, it absorbed. So, Chashinon means we have to be concerned that it's broken bones. If it's not taught, if it's folded up, it has a nice cushion. If the net that you're catching it with it has these knots that are close together, so now you have to be concerned that he broke his bones on these knots. If the knots are further apart, you don't have to worry. I guess these are all things that they used to do back in the day. Kitna, the cotton, David betune chashinon. If it's in a bunch of bundles, it's very tough. The haigisa or the haigisa loy chashinon. So we have a nice video over here. The haigisa. Like I explained before, if the bird falls directly, this is not a good video because his wings are flapping. Without flapping wings, he falls on the pinnacle, on the spitz of the bale, then it will destroy his bones. But if it's on the side, so it moves a little bit, it's a little bit on slant, it absorbs more of the impact, and then we don't have to worry about his bones and everything breaking. With the Hagisa, if he falls on the slant part, loy chashina. Yisur Yasa, we're talking about reeds, chashina, they're very tough, so you have to be concerned. Kitna, the daig, vinopitz, if you have cotton that was pounded and combed, loy chashinon, it's soft. Daig, v'ledofitz, it was just pounded, but it wasn't combed, so it's not that soft. Chashinon. David Bizrei, if small bundles, Kivin the ikebe, kitrei, chashinon, small bundles have, you tie it together, so it has knots, you have to be concerned about the knot breaking its bones. Dakto, chashinon, if it's like the stuff that comes out of the cotton, the dakto loy chashinon, it's finer stuff. It's soft. Navra chashinon, it's the what? No, I didn't. Dakto chashinon, dakto loy chashinon. Oh, I just realized in Chicago when I was giving the laning class that I had over there, so I did something called dik duk. And they have a very chashuv place in Chicago by the Walder family. This giant building that they help Rabbeim after hours, and there's tons of Rabbeim and Moros come there, and they have machines, and you can do all this, arts and crafts. So they have artists over there. And they help the Rabbeim draw. So I went there and I said, I have a shir. So the guy over there, he did something called dik duk, something like that. Like instead of dik duk, he made it dik duk. And that was our logo. We did because I was teaching also dikduk, like the Milaram, Milael, how to. So I'm just dakta here. That's the word. Dakta. Just Navra cheshinon. If it's very fine, loy cheshinon. Navra, those little strings on a palm tree. Cheshinon, they're too tough to fall on. Timchata loy cheshinon. But if you split them, then they're softer. Kitma. This is super interesting. Sifted ash. You have ash, sift it. You have to. No, it's tough. If you don't sift the ash, so it could absorb the fall. It's soft. We're going on. We're not even there. We're at number 16. Thin sand is not a concern. It's soft. If it's heavier, it's thicker, then it could break bones. Avak drochim. In other words, don't think that he fell on sand. Sometimes sand is not very gishmak to fall on. Avak drochim chashinon. In Bnei Brak, I remember they had a truck like over here. They bought a whole pile of sand to make so kids would actually jump out of very high, like a third story, fall into the sand because it's So that's choladak, huh? Nachal Noah, right now, right? That's outside. But the kids play at it. They're like a little bit more docile this generation. I'm talking about kids going to the building. What are you doing? You fall in it. It's like, I'm good. Okay. Avak drochim chashinon. Tivna v'avid bizga chashinon. Straw. Made a bale out of straw, so now it's a tough it's a box. Lo avid bizga, but if you just have a whole pile of straw, lo chashinon soft. Chite v'chol deminayu chashinon. Wheat and everything that's similar to wheat, like how do you say chiffon and rye. This is Rashi, rye. Again, anything that's similar to barley and everything that's similar, wheat and everything, they're tough. Kol minei kitniyos, all types of, how do you say kitniyos? Beans. They're softer. Lebar min rubia, fenugreek. Here. Chilba. Peas. No, this is a type of, I guess, afuna is soft. The arbis that we eat on Shalom Zacher, those are tough. Whoever goes to Shalom Zacher knows, those are tough. Hummus. They could crush your bones. Oh, finally, after 27. Klala de Milsa, here's the rule. Kolmidi de mashrik, anything that's slippery so it absorbs more of the fall. You don't have to be concerned about Rizik Loi mashrik. But if it doesn't slide, it has the Rizik Evarim. I got to tell you, some of you are going to be bored, especially those who heard it last night. It's one of my favorites. Classic. We lived in Kensington, here at Kodesh on East 4th Street. Just went by that house. I knocked on the door, but they weren't home. And my father's a gronik, he went to the mikveh every day. He decided he needs to build a mikveh in his house. So we had no clue. He called, it's like $60,000 to build a mikveh. He's like, we're going to just build it ourselves. So what do you do? Step number one is break the basement floor. So you break the basement floor, we start digging. You start digging in Brooklyn, it's Noirva. The mice started coming out. You would see them running around in the dirt. It was crazy. So we had a magefa of mice in our house. Mamish magefa. It was pretty gross. So, no rats, mice, little mice. They would run around. And we were putting traps everywhere around the house, including in my bedroom. I had a glue trap. One day, I'm waking up for davening for, I think I was in Chaim Berlin, wake up, and the first thing I do is I look over to the wall over there, and I see a mouse is trapped on the glue. It's like, I don't have patience for this guy. I roll over, go back to sleep. I don't know how much longer later, must have been before 2 o'clock in the afternoon for sure. I wake up, and I come out of bed, and as I put my feet on the floor, I feel something gooey and mushy on the bottom of my foot. And I look down and I see a crushed mouse. But the problem is that my foot is on the glue trap. And I can't get the glue trap off. And there's a dead mouse on my foot. So anybody that had the experience to touch a mouse, probably none of you in this room, it's not a great experience. Especially if you're a little bit of an istinus. If the guy next to me is moving his foot over and it bothers me a lot, imagine a mouse on the bottom of your foot. How you doing? How you doing? Shalom Aleichem. Anyway, so I was able to pull and yank. I got it off eventually. And then I rubbed my foot in the floor, in the carpet for I don't know how long. I was just rubbing it. I thought maybe it had a shemetz of mouse on me. I was Tommy Dairaisa. It was mamish a sheretz mace on the bottom of my foot. Fine. But Baruch Hashem, that gave me a brilliant idea. Why? Years later, I was already married, living in Lincolnwood, and one morning I hear like one of those machines that breaks concrete. That's what it sounded like. And I come outside and I see a woodpecker pecking at my window. So it's a beautiful bird, very rare, even in Lincolnwood. The next day, same thing, non-stop, like crazy. Now, Rabbi, hello, it's 1 o'clock, I'm still trying to sleep, what's wrong with you? And this is before Daf Yomi, not 1 o'clock in the morning, in the afternoon, Navi, yeah. So, I wanted, for the mice, I got to show the island what it looks like over here. This is what a woodpecker looks like. Look at the damage it could cause. That's a real house. That's not what it sounds like. I'm serious. And you're sitting, you're sleeping right there next to one. It's not your vibe. And then I remember the mouse. Oh, more the idea. So I go and I buy a glue trap. I take a ladder and I climb up and I look where he made the hole and I put it right below where he's making the hole. Next day, there's no noise. I come there, I see part of a woodpecker feather on the glue trap. And that was it. He never came back again. So if anybody had, why am I telling you this, Maisa? Pigeons, they do it. They sell the stuff. They sell it. I have it. It works. They have a spray that you put down, and you want a pigeon with the glue. You want to deal with it? You did it?
No.
It's a great idea.
Do the spray.
But the spray stays forever.
Right.
It makes a mark. Yeah. So says the Gemara like this. Here, check this out. It's unbelievable. I didn't invent this. This is in the time of the Gemara. This trick. I probably got it from here. If you put down glue on a trap and a bird's wing sticks to it and then falls down, is that risugei varim or not? If the woodpecker will fall from the second floor down to this, did his organs break? Do we have to be concerned? So Gemara goes through the whole thing. How many wings got stuck? Because let's say only one wing got stuck, so he has another wing that could lessen the impact. We're talking about impact. It's all about impact. On the same bale of hay, sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't. If it's on the side, so over here, all you need to do is flap your wing a little bit. Maybe you lessen the impact. Okay. We're going to see a mandama that says one wing doesn't work really. It barely does anything. Okay, so let's see. Real davok. Dibok. Oh, it reminds me of a dibok in the time of the Chavetz Chaim. We'll talk about it later. Rav Ashi Shari, Ameimar Aser. If a bird falls down on a glue trap, he's stuck. His wings are stuck. He is also according to Ameimar Rav Ashi. It's not a problem. Bechad Gapa. If the problem is one wing got stuck, the other wing is like the mouse. How did the mouse make it to my bed? Because only two of its feet got stuck on the glue trap. The other two were off, and he kept on moving until he got to my bed. One wing is not the end of the world. He has one wing to lessen the impact. The machlokes is two wings. How is he going to stop his fall? And we'll all think so. So what's the other? What's the other tzad to say that it's okay? So let's say this is a wing, and the wing is stuck in the glue, but you still have the rest of the wing that he can move. It's not the whole wing is stuck. The ends of it are stuck on the glue, but from where the bone, the wing attaches itself to the body, it can still move a little bit. That moving lessens the impact. Some learn it. Two wings stuck to the glue trap. Everybody agrees that it's also. He has no way out of this. He's just like a human being falling off a 5-story building. He can't flap anything. Flap your hands. It's going to help you. Keep ligi b'chad gapa. But there is a machlokes in one wing. He could fly a little bit with one wing, and therefore lessens the impact. And the one who says that it's also there's risik ivarim, there's broken bones. I don't know exactly how it works, but I could assume a bird flies with two wings, and when one doesn't work, then the other one also doesn't fly. It's not a thing. By the other one is not doing much at all. Not like in our video that he has like a nice descent down. The halacha is when there are two wings stuck to the glue trap, the animal has broken bones. No, there is in fact a lessening of the impact when there's one wing attached. There's a Murdik Rashi here. It's kedai to remember this Rashi for all of Shas. He says like this: in our days, what do we do in Rashi's days, in the times of the Rishonim? Forget about in 2026. Talking about how many years ago they lived? 700? Rashi? How many years ago? 1,000 years. 1,000 years. Okay, 1,000 years ago he says. So in the halachas it says that anytime you have a problem with nefula, shbura, drusa, all these halachas, the miskashi b'bdika that a sheikh could open it up, a rav could look inside. That's in the earlier generations, 1,200 years ago. 2,000 years ago. We don't know what we're doing. Says the halachas, can't rely. We don't know this stuff. Says Rashi, I don't agree with this. Every generation, it makes a lot of sense. Every generation has its own rabbanim. So what? We're in a shvacher madrega, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the ability in every generation. And I could be saying, every generation has their yamim. But you should bring all the best guys. Unfortunately, I know you're all excited about this, but the Shulchan Aruch doesn't pass like Rashi, passing like halachas dolos, that in our generation we're not bekim in this stuff. Okay.
You can X-ray to find out if it happened or not.
But we don't know exactly what we're looking for. If you're looking for broken ribs and broken spine, you're right. What about different internal? You need more of an MRI for intestine and all that stuff. Yeah, you're talking about.
Pasuk in the Torah that one wing's okay. Bakafta Yava, Bakafta Yetze.
All right, that's already. That's a new madrega. Puns with Torah in it. Bringing psukim from Avadim, comparing it to birds, Givaldi. Nishtabru roivtz loisel. So now we have a whole sugya about ribs. Lucky us, we have crazy artists who made this a lot more enjoyable for us. Mamish understandable.
The caterer is going to bring ribs.
Oh, ribs. You know how much a rib cost at my daughter's wedding? That was 7 years ago. Each rib for. Oh yeah, forget it. It's there. Lamb chop. It's a type of a rib. Yes. Just.
It's a lamb rib.
As the caterer, because my company catered it. As the caterer, then, but it's more expensive. Then each lamb chop is $11. No, that's what I said. At least $11. But that's cost. But that prices went up since then. How many did you have? You remember? He can still taste it. He can still taste Mendy. How many did you have? Lamaisa, how many? It was a nice amount. It was listen, you come from Israel and you're still hungry. Shvachim food on the flight. Oh, so it says in the Mishnah, if most of its ribs were broken. Now, how many ribs need a break? What's roiv? So an animal actually has 26 ribs. So roiv would be 14, maybe. But that's not the roiv. Roiv is 12. Why? Because we don't care about two of the ribs on each side. We don't care about the two red ones. Why don't we care about the two red ones? According to one pshat, okay, we're just going simple, make it easy. Rashi, these two, they don't have marrow. They're without bone marrow. So they're not, they look like everything else, but they're not. So we're left with 11. All the white ones. So what's the majority of 11? 6. Now, you don't have to have 6 on each side. As long as you have 12 total broken ribs, you can put all of them on one side, all 11 on one side, and one on the other side. That's like 12. You can do 6 and 6. You can do it any way you want, as long as 12 are broken from all of these. What part of the rib? See, the rib goes all the way around. So it needs to be the upper part. Great. Let's see inside. Torah Rabbanon, Eilen Roiv Tzlois, Sheish Mikan v'Sheish Mikan, 6 on the other side. Oyachas Yisrei Mikan, V'achas Mikan, 11 on one side, 1 on the other side. Amaziri Umechsen Klapi Shidra. Here, take a look over here. 11. They break on the upper part. You see, there's even a purple line over there. From that line, let's call it, that's the halfway, from that line up. That's where it has to break. That where the ribeye is. Oh, v'simanach ribeye. Okay, great. We're talking about not the red guys. We're talking about the large ones that have marrow. Omar Ula says, Ben Zakkai Omar. Ben Zakkai said, Nekru b'roiv tzad echad. There's a difference between breaking and uprooting, detached completely. There's more to get pictures here. Here's a tzela that's detached. They fit nicely into a ball, into a socket. It's a ball and socket. And if it pops out, that's worse than breaking, because now it has zero support. At least what? So if nekar, b'roiv tzad echad, all you need is 6. A total of 6 on one side. Nishtabru is less severe. If they break, then you need a total of 12, not 6.
Can they combine?
Yeah, why not? Like we said before, I think so. I think what he means b'tzad echad means that the majority of 11. I don't think it means dafka on one side. Yeah. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan Omar, Bein Nekru, Bein Ishtabru, Beroiv Shnei Zdadim. No. Says Rabbi Yochanan, doesn't matter if they were uprooted, popped out completely, broken, you need a majority 12 broken or uprooted. Omar Rav. And here we start a beautiful sugya. So, step one in the sugya is Rav. Rav says something very simple. One uprooted rib, but with the vertebrae, this animal is a goner, treif. One. Omar Rav, nekrat tzela v'chulya ima, something like this, maybe not this, let's call it this. The whole vertebrae is gone over here. I would actually remove a little bit more from this over here. What?
That's no longer a rib issue, that's a spine issue. It's a both.
Well, why it has a right. It has a spine issue, exactly. Spine is not a spine, not a spinal cord, but a spine issue. If one vertebrae is completely missing with one, you're saying if it's missing, then who cares about the
rib.
Well, as we're going to see in the Gemara, is once the vertebrae is gone, then the ribs are gone also. Even if the ribs are in place, they're worthless to me. They're not giving any support at all. They only give support because they're attached to the main vertebrae. Once you remove the vertebrae out, and these guys are standing there like this, they're a bunch of goylamim, they're standing in mid-air. They do nothing. That's what the Gemara is going to say soon. Okay, so Rav, what does Rav say? He says 1 plus the chulya, the vertebrae, there's a spine issue, treifa, it's a treifa automatically. Amri lei, Rav Kahana v'Ravasi l'Rav, so the two Talmidim ask Rav, what if you have two nekrot tzela mikan v'tzela mikan from both sides, and they're opposing each other? They're twins. They're on the same vertebrae, but on both sides. The chulya kayemes, but you Rav, we wouldn't ask you about two because you said one is no good, but one with the spine, with the whole vertebrae. I'm saying the vertebrae is in place, but two ribs popped out of their sockets. They're gone. What's the halacha? He said to them, what you're just describing is an animal that's sliced in half. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, just to remind you what gistra is. When you have an animal that's sliced in half, it's treif. Not only is it treif, it's an avela. Oh. I stopped it right in time.
We'll do editor.
Okay. What? No, we don't have a new editor for English.
No, you started.
Oh, I'm the editor. Yeah, I'm the editor. Yeah. Okay. So basically, he said when it's missing ribs from the pair. We'll call them a pair. What are we going to call them? The two ribs together from both sides. They meet in the middle. When they're both gone, then think about it. The animal has a bunch of a few inches with no rib, and the whole body is going to twist and turn. It's not a stable animal. It's a gistra. Ask the Gemara of Rav Nami Gistra Kalmar. It's a beautiful sugi. You just have to hold cup over here. Rav says, when he says that the vertebrae is gone, isn't that a gistra? He says one vertebrae is gone with one rib. But guess what? If there's no vertebrae, then both ribs are worthless. So it's also a gistra. His case of one vertebrae missing actually means two ribs are missing as well. Automatically, the two ribs don't mean anything. Even if they're there and they didn't move, they're not there, halachically. No. So we're a typical classic Gemara. We're going to try to wiggle our way out of it until we're stuck, and then we're going to come out with the pshat. Maybe Rav meant that the rib is missing, but the vertebrae is in place. That's impossible. He says mafurish that the vertebrae is missing. So don't try to tell me that the vertebrae is in place. Okay, but what I could try to do is I'll say and that's what I'm going to stay with. Everybody's happy with that. Rav didn't mean literally that the whole entire vertebrae went missing. He meant to say that part of the vertebrae is missing. Here, like this. So what does this? What does this help me? This helps me that it's not a gistera. It's not an animal split in half. It has some support on the other side. It's intact. This part of the chulya is broken. Okay, if that's the case, obviously, if they're asking, if Rav said that a half a vertebrae is missing, a half a vertebrae and one rib is missing, what does Rav say? Treif, gone. So his Talmidim would never ask him, and what about two? Yeah, Yishkoyach. If one is no good, so two is also treifa. So what did they ask? Why did they ask two? They're saying, but the vertebrae is intact. What happens if two ribs are missing and the vertebrae is 100% in good shape? What's the halacha? On that he told them, Gister Kamritu. That's considered a split animal. Asked the Gemara, how could that be? How can you tell me that if two ribs are missing, that's called an animal that's split in half? V'amar Ula, Ben Zakkai Omar, we just read it. Ben Zakkai says, Nekru b'roiv tzadecha nishtab b'roiv b'shnei tzdadim. If you're talking about this case that they popped out of place, it's not two that makes it treif. You need roiv. Yeah, roiv. You need a lot more. You need at least 6 missing, not 2. Or, says the Gemara, when do you need a roiv? When they are lined up nicely, these ribs are missing, you need 6 missing ribs because they're not on opposite sides. But when you have a pair, that's terrible. Even 2 is worse than 6, or worse than 5, I should say. 5 missing, they're in order, fine. See, you're missing a bunch of ribs. But when you have 2 ribs that are opposite each other, they're a pair, that's a terrible thing. That's what Rav Kahana and Rav Asi were talking about. That's a different case. Ask the Gemara, but that's also not a good shot. Why? Rabbi Yochanan says 12 are missing. Where do you think you're going? You think you're going to Austria or something?
No, I gotta go somewhere else first.
Oh, okay. Rabbi said, just to remind the Olam, in case you weren't here last night, or this is the first time you're watching the share, so Be'ezer Hashem, I'm flying to Austria today for 2 weeks. There will be another share today in Hebrew on Daf Nun Gimel at 12:15. Be'ezer Hashem. And from there, hopefully it'll be over by 1:15 because I got to go to the airport at 1:30. So what? And tonight, Be'ezer Hashem, shir in Zurich. Zurich, we don't know the place yet. Some shul somewhere or somebody's house. I don't know. Approximately 10:30. So if you're in Switzerland, I'd love to meet you and get to know you and see you at a live shir in Switzerland. The following day, shir is going to be in Austria, which is interesting. Maybe I'll save it for tonight. But my grandfather, the Stefanskys, come from Switzerland, so that's tonight. My grandmother comes from Austria. That's tomorrow night. Yeah, Fisher from Austria. That's my grandmother. That's all the Stefansky side. Yeah, that's why I'm such a yucky. I'm like a Swiss Austrian. Get your feet in the. Okay, Zakti Gemara. That's why I'm always on time. Also, all shiurim are on time. How you doing? Don't smile when I say I'm on time.
5:10 is there. We made it 7:10.
No, it's 6:10. It's 1 hour difference. No. I'm going to give shir earlier. I'm going to give shir the night before.
Can be recorded.
Record it. What's the difference? It's on the screen. You won't know if it's live or not. Okay. Okay. Listen to this. Let me show it to you over here, and you'll see how beautiful this is. Rabbi Yochanan says that 12 ribs are missing, 6 from each side. Even if you do 6 from each side, you're going to have 1 overlapping because it's 11 on each side. If you take 6 out of 11 on the bottom and 6 out of 11 on the top, that's roiv. He says you need at least 12 broken. 1 of them is going to be overlapping. So what in the world are Rav Kahana and Rav Asi adding to the question? Rav Yochanan says you need 12 ribs missing, so they asked, but what if they're overlapping? What if they're facing each other? Rabbi Yochanan spoke about a case that that 2 are facing each other, because there's no other way. It doesn't matter if you put all 11 on the bottom and 1 on the top. 1 of them is going to be overlapping. The one on top is going to be overlapping. Very simple, no? The math is beautiful. You need to have 6 on each side. It's impossible that you don't have a situation where one is against facing the other. So what was the question that Rav Kahana Rav Asi had? Says Gemara Hasan Buchna Beloy Asisa. Hacha Buchna Vasisa. First of all, the words. This is pestle and mortar, right? You go like this. You put the. So this is the socket, and this is the ball, and it goes in like that. So one case is Rav Kahana, Rav Asi were asking when the socket and the ball both broke. Everything broke. Which is, you should be asking yourself, so that makes no sense, because that's what Rav was talking about. We already established, Rav, the Rebbe, spoke about one rib broken with a little bit that popped off the vertebrae. So then why would Rav Kahana Rav Asi ask about a question of two ribs with a broken or missing vertebrae? That's the Gemara's next question. But he says, Rabbi Yochanan was talking about that the ribs popped out nicely like this. So that's why you need 12. Rav Kahana, Rav Asi, we're talking about this case. 2 of them that broke the vertebrae. See, there's a piece of vertebrae on the rib. That's what they were asking. So 2 is worse than 12 because the broken chulya. As Gemara Yochanan, the Rav. Rav didn't really speak about a complete missing chulya, Taisa says, but it doesn't matter. He said even in a situation where part of the vertebrae broke off, one is treif. So why are you asking me about the same exact case 2? Says the Gemara, Lo Sheminu the Rav. They asked the question because they had no idea. They had no idea that Rav said that one is a problem. Again, what does Rav say? 1 rib missing, but the vertebrae broke off with it, treif. They come along and they ask Rav, the Rebbe, Rebbe, what about 2 ribs that have they broke off a piece of the chulya? I already said 1 is no good when it has a broken vertebrae. So certainly 2 is no good. The Gemara says, no, they never heard that he said that halach. That's what they asked him. Now you have to ask yourself, though, time out. If you were a Talmud and you were asking your Rebbe a question about a missing rib with a broken vertebrae, would you ask him, Rebbe, what's the halach about 1? Or you would jump and say, what's the halach about 3 broken ribs? Which one would you do? 1. You start off slow. You ask 1. So why would they jump? They never heard anything about ribs with broken vertebrae. So they asked him about 2. Why don't they ask him about 1? Makes a lot more sense. Rebbe, 1 rib with a broken vertebrae, is that treif or not? No, they didn't ask him that. They said, Rebbe, 2 ribs with 2 broken. Why would they ask him that? So the Gemara says, we'll say about pet. Listen to this. It's a nice cheshbon. It's a riddle. Here's the riddle. You have 1 question to ask your Rebbe. The Rav is very, very busy. The whole generation is there. So Rabbi Yashiv, you can just imagine 100 people in line. You can't drive him crazy. You have to ask him 1 question in out. Think before you ask the proper question. You want to know all halachas. So if you ask him about 1 vertebrae that's broken with the 1 vertebrae with the rib, and he answers you it's kosher, you'll never know what about 2. And if he says treif, then you will know. He says treif, so certainly 2. Great. But what if he says it's kosher? And I only have 1 question. It's a riddle. It's one of those riddles. The guy's in the room and you don't know and you have to ask. You have 1. But if he asks about 2, then I can figure it out. How? If he says it's kosher, then 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all kosher. But if he says it's treif, then I know 2 is treif. But how will I know 1 is treif? I will know 1 is treif because the way he answers it. If he's annoyed at me, and he says 2 is treif, that means, of course, 1, because 1 is also treif. So what do you ask me about 2? So he says it with a little bit of anger in his voice. You have to read the body language. It's not just the words that come out of his mouth. You say, Rebbe, is two ribs missing with the vertebrae broken off? Is that kosher or not? He says, it's treif. Meaning, 1 is treif. So of course 2 is treif. But that's only if if you have 1 question to ask, you have to ask about 2.
It's a ribble.
It's a ribble. Very nice. Man, he would be very proud of you. He'd be very proud of you. It's a riddle, a ribble.
Okay.
Very nice.
Getting vertigo from it.
He's getting vertigo from the ribbon.
But you're saying that you have to start reading him to get it.
Yeah, it's all throughout Shas. Throughout Shas with Rav, you always read.
It's like
that's how they were.
It's like you can't learn. Think twice before you learn. You can't learn like that.
I don't come and ask like a shaita.
No, you can't.
But that's the whole Gemara. The whole Shas is like this. Zog the Gemara. Let's just say it inside. So ask the Gemara. Why don't he ask the question of Rav's case? What's Rav's case? One rib, one missing vertebrae. Savri. So they said there's only 4 more lines to the sugya. Then we're going to very easy stuff. They said we're going to ask one question and we're going to have 2 answers from that. The we would ask, what's the halacha about one rib missing with a vertebrae missing? If you told us this is treifa, great. Then I'll know for there. Everything else is treif. But the problem is, if he says one rib that's broken off with the vertebrae is kosher, and there's a big chance he'll say that, just also the respect they had for him. It's like we're not on his level. We talk with complete fear. If he says that it's kosher, I won't know what to do with 2. And I have to ask another question. I can't do that. Ihachi Hashanami asks the Gemara, but it doesn't make sense what you're saying. Hashanami, the Kabbai Minei Tarti, they asked him about 2. Hanicha, that's great. In Yom Aluk Sheira, it's kosher. So 1 is kosher, 2 is certainly. If 2 is kosher, 1 is certainly kosher, and everything else is kosher. But what happens if he says 2 is treif, which we know is treif? I won't know. What about 1? Maybe 1 is kosher, 1 broken off. You have to read his body language. You have to read his word, how he says it. He would be very mad and he would say, what are you asking me a question about 2? 1 is treif. Of course 2 is treif. He wouldn't say it like that, but he'd say, 2 is treif. But that didn't work. That trick didn't work. There's no body language. Rav answered, but what? No, the Gemara says, no. Think about what Rav said. He did. He said it. We was annoyed at them. He said, "What you're saying, that's a case of gistera." He said it like, "Oh, it's gistera." Like, what are you asking me? That's an animal that's broken in half. Think about it. That was a little bit of more than treif. He could have said treif. He didn't say treif. He said, "Oh, it's a gistera." Oh, that means one is treif. What are you asking me about 2? 2 is a animal that's cut in half. Next sugya, rabbis. Here we go. If you remember in the Mishnah on Daf Mem Beis, I can't believe it. It's already 10 days ago. We're still in this parak. We're having a lot of fun with this parak. It says in the Mishnah there's 18 treifas. Ask the Gemara, but there's more than 18, and that's where we introduced the word shav shmaitza. There's another 7. So now we're going to talk about 3 out of the 7. And who said that? Halacha Shmuel. Shmuel is the one that mentioned the shav shmaitza. It says, or part of it. Omar Rav Rashila, Omar Rav Masa, Omar Shmuel. Says Shmuel, here's 3 of them. There's another 3 treifas that are not mentioned in the Mishnah. Nekra tsela mikara, if a rib was uprooted from the root. Mamish like this, uprooted. Or a skull that was bashed in, somebody took a bat, whacked it on the head, and most of it, 51% of the skull is broken. The Gemara is going to describe what part of the skull is 51%. And the stomach, the bottom part of the animal, roiv. Here, just to hear this. You see, this is the basar chavis roiv, that red. That's the meat that covers. Let's just, for argument's sake, that covers. It's the outside meat, but it covers the intestines. Okay. So says the Gemara. Treifa. These 3 are treifa. Nekra tzela mikara treifa. If you tell me 1 rib popped out of its socket, it's treifa. Vermino dafnum beis amud beis. Kam chisar b'shidra. We had this sugya when you have a dead person in a room. It's matame the whole room betum soil. What if you have just a skull or just a spine? Also, the spine, a whole spine. But what if the spine is missing 2 vertebrae? That it gives tumah, gives red to the entire room. A spine also gives tumah. But if you have 2 vertebrae missing, there's no tumah in the room. 1 vertebrae missing. So who's more machmir here? Bisham is more machmir. Why? They say that the tumah, the red, keeps on spreading and spreading unless you remove a lot. If you remove a little, just one vertebrae, it continues to spread. So there will be tumma in this room up until a point where you take 2 vertebrae out, or you started with 2 vertebrae less, I should say. Akopanim, they're more machmer. Shmuel, v'chein l'treifa. Here's Shmuel again. Shmuel says that this same machlokes, we had this, remember, 10 days ago. This same machlokes applies to treifa. In other words, if you have an animal that's missing 1 vertebrae, you could eat it. It's not a treifa. If it's missing 2 vertebrae, then it becomes a treifa. All of a sudden, in the case of treifa, the same bishamai, who are machmer by tumah, they're makel by eating, because you can eat it up until you have 2 full vertebrae missing. Akopanim, what do you see from here? If you don't have vertebrae, you don't have ribs. So you need at least 1 whole vertebrae missing, which means 2 ribs missing, according to Basil. And according to Shama, you need 2 vertebrae, which is 4 ribs missing. So how are you telling me one rib missing is a treifa, when in fact the minimum is 2 ribs missing? Says Gemara, there's a big difference. We're talking about ribs missing without the vertebrae versus a vertebrae missing without ribs. How's that possible? I could hear that you have ribs missing without a vertebrae. They popped out. How do you have a vertebrae missing without ribs? If the vertebrae is missing, then the ribs are missing. No, b'shili kafle. It's at the end of the spine. The end of the spine here, like something like this. Once the ribs they stop the ribs, and then you have all these bones right over here. These guys, those are vertebrae without ribs. Why is this not mentioned in the list of things that Bishamai say it's a kula? That what? You could eat an animal, it's not treif, up until more vertebrae are missing than Beis Hillel. So that's a bigger kula. Says the Gemara. Rav, you're right, it is a kula, but this whole sugya of missing vertebrae was said by the Tumah soil, and that's why over there in that sugya it's a chumrah. You're right. If you flip it, it becomes a kula in the halachas of treifa, but it wasn't said in the halachas of treifa. Shmuel is the one that made the comparison from the halachas of tumah to the halachas of treifa, but it was said in the halachas of treifa in tumah, and therefore it turns out the bishamai are the machmir in that case. The bishamai, the chumrah. 2 very quick things about chumras and kulas. So Rav what? Yeah, Rav Pinchas Scheinberg. He said it's a you can take this insight to a lot of different things. I don't think anybody's going to listen to this one, but it's just it's an idea. He said that don't be machmer on the cheshbon of yeshiva. So he said la halacha, to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom, you only have to wash once per hand. So when you're using more water in the yeshiva on the yeshiva's account because they pay for the water bill, don't be machmer and wash your hands 3 times on each hand. That's your chumrah that you do at home, not in my sink. And a bacher didn't believe that he said that. What? Water? So he waited until Rav Pinchas Scheinberg went to the bathroom or something. He went and he jumped in there and he started washing his hand. And he got a mussar shmuz from him. He said, another interesting ma'isa was that some guy went to Rav Shneiman and said, look, when my wife makes chicken soup, I have to, at the table, the kids, they only eat the pure meat off the bone, so I have to take the bone out and the skin. It's a little bit of a problem of boyer. So should we take that stuff out before Shabbos? It's kedai for the chumrah of boyer. So he said, but who's going to end up doing it? You or your wife? And that was the end of the conversation. So in other words, don't be a big machmer, don't bring chumras into the house that have to do with your wife doing the work, and you're sitting there, I'm a big tzaddik, I'm machmer. So the Gemara, the turn of the Daf, Adar Global, the official non-corporate sponsor of the MDY League. Encore Healthcare as a schus for all of Klal Yisrael. Oh, it's an hour already. 8:12. Okay. What are we going to do here? We got to do a little bit more. You have a skull that was crushed mostly. Teku. I don't know. What does that mean? Real quickly, Roiv Goiva means you make a line by the eyes and you measure upwards. 51% of that blue line, the arrow, that's Roiv Goiva. Or roiv akeva means you take a measuring tape and you do the circumference around the entire head, and 51% of that, I don't know if it's the height or the width, so to speak, tekel. And if you have a roiv cut from that meat on the bottom of the stomach, that's a treiva by Rav Ashi b'roiv kurua or b'roiv natal. So here's a picture. This is a tear, a majority tear in that meat, and here's most of it missing. It went missing. Which one does it mean? Missing? 51% missing or 51% tear? Says Gemara, I could prove it. Now, let's go back. Do you remember who's the one that said the Shef Shmaitza? Shmuel is the one that says Shef Shmaitza. So let me bring a raya. That what? You also have to recall from 2 days ago, we had 7 pshatim what a keres pnimi means, and then we know what a chitzayni means. Keres pnimi, we had 7 pshatim. One a tefach closest to the keres, where the hair started. One said the entire keres, the whole thing. So one of the pshatim was, it's not keres pnimi shenikva oy shenikra. It says over here, it ripped. There's a little puncture in the pnimi, but the outer one was completely was torn. It doesn't say nital. That was our question. Is it removed or torn? Over here it says torn. Now let me prove to you that it's talking about our case. They say in Eretz Yisrael, what's keres pnimi? One of the 7 pshatim is it's the entire keres. So if keres pnimi is the entire keres, what does keres chitzayni mean? It's not even referring to the keres. Again, what's keres? It's just when an animal eats, it goes into a pouch called a keres, the first stomach. The second stomach is basic kaises, third hemses, fourth keva. This keres, pnimi means the entire keres. So what's chitzayni? It's not even referring to the keres. It's referring to the meat that's on the outside of the keres. And that meat, it says oishinikra. It tore. So what's the raya? It's not that it's removed. It's a raya to this, that it's this case right over here, and not this, because it says it's torn. Says the Gemara, wait a minute, there was 7 pshatim over there. Who said this pshat? Shmuel or somebody else? Somebody else. Guess what? Shmuel says his own pshat. We're trying to prove one of the Shef Shmaitzes. In the Shef Shmaitzes, is it a rip or is it missing? It's a rip because somebody else said a pshat in keres hachitzoy means that it doesn't fit, it doesn't go with Shmuel. We're trying to figure out Shmuel. Shmuel is the one that said a place that doesn't have any wool, like little lumps over there. We got to do this little sugi and then we'll finish. Udra says Rav. It says in the Mishnah that a wolf and a lion, brings us a lion, but a wolf has venom in its nails. Some learn pshat, it means bacteria. Some learn literally, it has venom in its nails. Says Rav, when it comes to a larger animal, talking about, let's say, a cow. So any animal larger than a zev, according to most Rishonim, the Rosh argues, but according to a lot of Rishonim, it means what's larger than a wolf? A hyena, a leopard, a bear. Certainly a lion for sure, even the Rosh agrees to, because that's in the Mishnah. All these have venom. Limudei mai? I'm sorry? When it comes to birds, anything larger than a hawk. Here's a hawk. I heard they have them here in Bet Shemesh, they have them in Eretz Yisrael. We had pictures, a guy, I don't want to say who, somebody was going to bring a hawk to shear. Today, it's going to be beautiful, and he's actually even offered for it to feed it, to give it a live mouse, and it'll grab it. And then he says, no. That's 2 years of jail. 2 years of jail. Yeah. Where he lives, he has it. They have it in the moshav or something. You can grab it. You can go to jail for 2 years. It's not worth it. I said it is worth it. No, he didn't want to come. So, in Chicago, once in a while, I told you, they're unbelievable flyers. The pigeons, birds, just walking around in your backyard. They come out of nowhere, in between branches, swoop down and just grab it with two. And they take it, put it down in the backyard in front of everybody, and they start eating it while it's alive. The Gemara is going to talk about it. They start pecking at it, and the bird is screaming, moving around. Doesn't matter. And then when it's done, the place is a mess. There's feathers everywhere, and just sits there, minds his own business, and then the birds are scared to come to your backyard for a while. Then they forget, and then he comes again. Fine. Zok the Gemara. Limudei mai. So it says, from a wolf and up. It's coming to exclude a cat. Tanino Drus Hazev. It says Mefurish, only a wolf and up. A cat is much smaller than a wolf. Maybe no. It means also the Ze'ev begasa nami daris, that a wolf is capable of inserting venom and inflicting a treifa to a larger animal. So in other words, and not a cat. But nan Rabbi Yehuda Omer Drus Ze'ev bedako Drus Ari begasa. It's not true that a wolf is in a smaller animal and a larger animal is and a larger not a wolf, only a larger predator like a lion. Maybe Rabbi Yehuda is not coming to explain the Mishnah, but he's arguing. We have a mandama that says Rabbi Yehuda came to explain. Says Gemara, so what if he said that it's coming to explain? I hold it's not coming to explain. I argue on Rabbi Yehuda. I say that Rabbi Yehuda comes to argue. It's coming to exclude a cat, that a cat cannot inflict damage to a sheep and a goat, that sort of thing. The reason why I mentioned wolf, because wolf is famous. Wolf actually do kill sheep, not so much cats. And I don't think a cat is also something that can inflict damage to a sheep. No, only a wolf and up inflict damage. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.